Giorgio Pantano just sets the fastest lap of the race and has closed the gap down to 1.3 seconds to Lucas de Grassi.
Only driver to have raced in all 6 races here in GP2 at Silverstone, but has never finished higher than 4th. And that was in the sprint race in 2006. Pantano, fastest man on the track at the moment, sensing victory here today. Meanwhile, we concentrate on the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th. Now this time, Chandhok is an awful lot closer down the hanger straight. Has he got more momentum to make it stick in the stove? Pulls over to the right-hand side, inside line. Whoa, blocked off by Andy Zuber. Almost there, tantalisingly close for Chandhok. And you can see locking up of brakes from Romain Grosjean ahead of them. And the Frenchman at the moment struggling in 3rd place.
Well, this is the battle for the lead. Just look how much Giorgio Pantano's closed the gap in the space of a lap. Meanwhile, further back, again, the 3 cars behind, Zuber really has got Chandhok all over him, next to him, and just closing the door there. Well, last minute, but they both carry on. But meanwhile, Chandhok has got Bruno Senna right behind him.
I'm amazed that Zuber and Chandhok didn't collide there and take each other off, but very desperate piece of defending from Andy Zuber, but he's managed to hold on to it as Bruno Senna locks up his brakes there, going through the complex past Brooklands. Senna on the tail of his teammate on the tail of Zuber, sliding round out of the final turn there. This the battle for the lead, and I tell you, it's down to 0.4 of a second, it's down to 3 car lengths now. I wouldn't be surprised if it changes completely in a matter of 2 turns time as Zuber once again shuts the door on Chandhok. The battle for 1st and 2nd and the battle for 4th and 5th. Absolutely identical at the moment in terms of the position on the track, but Chandhok's lost a bit of time coming out of Copse there, and now Senna is all over the back of Chandhok.
Well, it's all about being fast at the right places on the racetrack, and going into Copse, it's very difficult to actually pull off an overtaking manoeuvre there. These cars hardly slow down at all. As a result of that, he's lost a lot of ground to Andy Zuber. Probably could have done with hanging back there and getting a run at him through Beckett's again. That does seem to be his best hope. Still 8 laps to go, still plenty of time to catch back up again.
Riding from the back now, Chandhok's iSport car. You can see his teammate Bruno Senna going a little bit wider and all really nervy out of club and down onto the straight now. Behind Bruno Senna, Sebastian Buemi starting to come into the picture a little bit now as well. And we saw the back view, Chandhok and Senna. Let's look ahead as Andy Zuber, well, he was almost alongside him, and they did touch wheels. The front wheel, right wheel of Chandhok's iSport, the back left tyre of that PK Sports, and it just shunted Andy Zuber across the track there. He thought it was a little too late to shut the door.
Well, it was a bit. Curran had to throw his car over the curb as well to stay out of the way, but you know, that's racing. That's why this is a modern racetrack, where it allows that kind of racing to continue and to carry on. Now the gap closing back up again. Andy Zuber has got Curran, then Bruno Senna, Sebastian Buemi. So it's Andy Zuber's pace that's kind of holding things up, and he's bottling up those cars behind. It's almost inevitable that he's not going to be able to hang on for 7 more laps, but he's resisted a lot of pressure so far.
Dare I just break away from this battle to tell you that Giorgio Pantano now 7/10 back on Lucas de Grassi. Here we go, he lost a bit of time, but he's actually made it up through the 1st sector, as you can see, trying down the inside there. But he lost time on the previous lap, and I was going to say maybe de Grassi's just got the message, but Pantano's coming back at him with renewed vigour. Through Vale they come, and now on to Club. How early do you get down on the power, put your foot to that throttle? Well, not too early in the case of de Grassi or Giorgio Pantano. Through into Abbey they come now. Who's that going just a little bit wide? That's Andy Zuber losing 3 places there. Has Zuber got a problem?
I think, well, I'd like to see the move again. I bet that's a result of having to try to defend earlier on. Here we are into Vale there, and well, Chandhok down the inside wasn't close. That's Andy Zuber just really overshooting the corner, probably with slightly too much focus on his mirror, keeping an eye on the car. As I said earlier, he's bottled up the cars behind. He's resisted a huge amount of pressure so far, but it was almost inevitable that he wouldn't be able to resist in the end. And well, he wasn't able to. Now Curran has got Bruno Senna to defend, but if these 2 guys get their head down with 6 more laps, they could catch Romain Grosjean.
And at the moment, the difference between Grosjean and Chandhok is a matter of 3.5 seconds. But the difference between the ART car and the leading iSport car on the previous lap was 0.7 of a second. So they are lapping significantly faster.
And again, we talked about tyre degradation. That's what this race is all about. Last 10 laps were always going to be interesting. Pantano again, very, very fast.
Well, feinted to the left-hand side, and Grassi went with him. He couldn't block off the move then, and that is excellent driving from Giorgio Pantano, who used his experience there, thought it through, and passed with ease eventually. Completely outfoxed him, but as he overcooked it into the chicane, now they're almost going wheel to wheel. Round club, the outside line for Grassi. They touch wheels nearly as Grassi has to go over onto the runoff area. A slightly wider line forced over by Pantano, who looks to have preserved his lead. And could this be a second successive win for Giorgio Pantano, the only man to win 2 races this season? Well, he's now leading with 6 laps to go and possibly on his way to a 3rd.
Well, Pantano has been extremely quick through the complex all race long, gives him great speed down the hanger straight. And at this stage of the game, I think Lucas de Grassi has killed his tyres a little bit too much, slow onto the hanger straight, and there was nothing he could do to resist.
Alfonso likes that a lot. Oh, Pastor Maldonado is now out of the race, and that's quite a major off, going backwards into the tyre barrier there. And he's moving around a bit. Let's see what happened. That's going round Stowe there. Whoa, just across the track, almost took out the car following behind him, lost control completely, no traction whatsoever after going off onto the dirt. And finally we get to see Pastor Maldonado get out of the car, which is good news, but that was almost a sideways impact for the Venezuelan.
Well, quite a sizable impact there, and you know, again, just a case of a demonstration of how different these cars are to drive at this stage of a race compared to the way they were earlier in the race with some shiny new Bridgestone tyres on. This is one of the challenges of GP2. It's something that these drivers really learn about, and it does bring the racing alive in a nice long race like this. It's really brought this race alive, and a lot of places are changing, have changed, and maybe still will change as Karun Chandhok now looking to try and close the gap between himself and Romain Grosjean, trying to drop Bruno Senna, but it's not all that easy. And look, the gap has closed down a lot.
Well, we sensed that it was coming, and visually you can see just how much closer these cars have got now to Romain Grosjean. 5 laps to go, yellow flag's been waved after Pastor Maldonado went off. Second last year, wasn't he, in the feature race, or in the sprint race I should say, Pastor Maldonado, and he's been on the podium on the last 2 Saturdays in GP2. He's got a long walk back to the pits this afternoon, I'm afraid to say. Pantano leads though, de Grassi now second, and this the battle between Romain Grosjean and Karun Chandhok down the main straight and into Copse Corner. Karun Chandhok gaining all the time on Romain Grosjean as they go wide through Copse. And I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time we get to the hanger straight, Karun Chandhok has got past Grosjean. No, just backs off a little bit there, going through Maggots and into Beckett's. He's got to be aware of the yellow flags ahead of him. Now, has he got the momentum down the hanger straight? He has. Almost pulling up to one side. Grosjean just blocks him off a little bit. Still riding with Karun Chandhok. Romain Grosjean holding on to 3rd place, and now down the inside goes Karun Chandhok. Realised that was the best place to try and do it, but yellow flags being waved. Has he overtaken there under yellow flags? Well, locking up of brakes ahead of him, Grosjean, and then Bruno Senna and Sebastian